your arm like this.
My recording's in progress. Hi, it's Oral Hygiene, where we talk about caught films, educational films. It's educational day. It's educational. Do you hear that, Mark? It's educational.
I'm here to learn.
He's here to
Tell me.
learn. Okay.
Teach me about the metric system.
Well, everything's like base 10. That makes it easy.
No, it's not easy. I want it based on measurement of sack of potatoes.
Just control your emotions, man.
Ah! Stop making me rage.
Control my emotion. Fuck you. I'll control my emotions.
I am a forest fire.
Your emotions are also a forest fire. Yes. Yes. 1950 Coronet, which is, I guess, the king shit of educational filmmakers in 1950. Centron gets it a few decades later, but this is Coronet's Day in the Sun. Sid Davis, I guess there's Sid Davis, but maybe that's a little before. I guess about the same time. So those are the more moralizing ones. Coronet's the more just like, boilerplate educational ones.
Yeah, this feels like one of those that's more just an advice film than a lecture or scare film. They're not like they don't show anything really bad happening, which they really could have.
Yeah, that would be the Sid Davis film. Mm-hmm. That's the if for anyone that's playing the home game for this, that would be the difference in a great deal. So what happens in this film that tries to get you to control your emotions?
Jeff's having a bad day and it makes him angry. And wouldn't it be better if he was not angry? His day would be better and everyone would like him more.
He could be a Vulcan. That's why we should all be Vulcan.
I think the narrator is a Vulcan.
Yeah. Sirach.
So this is an interesting one because the only emotions he pretty much says the only emotions are rage, fear, and love. And then nothing else.
No bemusement, no confusion about the lack of emotion.
Well, no sadness, which is like sort of the big one to me, is like the sadness is not an emotion.
That's just another form of fear.
Well, it's almost like they just maybe pretended that sadness didn't really exist. It's one of those things where you see someone crying and you just walk around them, except for as a society.
Melancholia.
Yeah. Okay. Like when a moon hits your planet and blows it up, then you just ignore it.
I was looking at your notes, not my notes. That's why none of it made sense. Because my second note was when I was watching this, I was eating candy that looked like rocks.
I wondered why you were quoting my notes. I was like, did you memorize them?
Yeah, I memorized your notes before we get on. Yeah, okay. Sorry for stealing your thunder there, because I do.
That's all good
stuff from my notes. That's funny that I was reading your notes. What did I?
I was like, are you reading, or did you just think the exact same thing? I usually just read your notes once or twice just to get the idea of where you're coming from.
No, I was sitting here quoting your notes, thinking they were my notes. Anyway, now that I'm on my notes, I can tell you about the candy. It looked like rock.
I mean, that'll make you angry.
Huh?
That'll make you angry.
Yeah. If they were rocks, they would. Oh, and there I wrote them Coronet know how to make the films. That sounds more like me now. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't say anything about Coronet because I didn't pay attention to who they are. So Jeff is jealous of his sister's ill-fitting dress. He's angry about his car. He's angry about this soda jerk.
He is
being a soda jerk. He's angry about that he can't just jump over a bush into a sprinkler and everything's cool.
But I teach kids. I see kids like do things like get totally pissed off because they did something stupid and it failed.
Well, of course, but those are children. I don't want to generalize. Yeah, I guess teens have problems with this too. This isn't bad advice. This isn't like ridiculous advice. No. Like, yeah, actually, you will be a lot better off if you just laugh off things and then just chill out about your car, and then also extort your little brother by taking his airplane and be like, you will give me the letter or I will take your airplane. You'll be better off.
Yeah, of course. Don't try meditation to control your emotions. That'll just invite Satan into your life.
I mean, that this film is at best 70 years before meditation was accepted by the general public. And I'm not even really sure it is now.
Hey, actually, I did make a Vulcan note that I wrote. This is the film they show Earthlings when they first land on Vulcan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
I haven't watched like the most recent Star Trek series except for Lower Decks, but I feel like there is a lot that could be explored about just what all that stuff means. I mean, my favorite of any of the recent ones I watched was the baseball episode of Deep Space Nine, where there's just a Vulcan who's just kind of a prick.
oh yeah.
Like he was great.
Is he like not a very good Vulcan then? Because he's I mean he's showing
No, he's like
what are the three emotions? Fear, hate, and love.
it's just one of those things where it's like when anyone can take any type of personality and pivot it so they're like a bad version of it.
Yeah.
There's
Excuse
like
me.
there's the enthusiastic person that gets you excited about a project, and there's the enthusiastic person that comes across like a scary android and terrifies you and makes vague threats. You know, there's the depressed person that appreciates when you come for them. There's the depressed person that just sucks your soul out of your body when you're with them. And the Vulcans have to be the same way. And
Yeah.
also the resolution of that Star Trek episode is that the Deep Space Nine team loses horribly, and they're just like, you know what? That's cool. And then that's what really irritates the Vulcan. It's just like, why aren't you mad that you lost? Like, you know what? We played baseball. It's cool.
There we go. It's rage, fear, and love. Because
Rage, fear, and love.
I thought that
Yeah,
would be
the
Rage
Earth,
of
Wind, and
Fear.
Fire side project.
Now, I wrote it would be a good name for a sci-fi rom-com starring Tom Cruise and Julia Roberts.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a sequel to Eat, Pray, Love. It's Rage, Fear, Love. It's like Tom Cruise just turns into a maniac on their after they've been married for a while.
Here's one.
Like Tom Cruise, like as Tom Cruise would never actually do in real life.
Why is this guy so pissed off this day anyway? He's got a triple date. That counts as an orgy, right? Especially with the soda jerk.
I have never heard of a triple date before. That sounds like a disaster. But yeah, I mean, well, but it's like he can't start his car, so he can't get to the triple date, right?
And
That's enraging.
I guess it is a jerky soda jerk because
Hmm?
he insists that Jeff clean it up the mess, right? It's like,
Yeah.
and isn't the
I mean,
restaurant supposed to
kinda.
clean up? I mean, you're like, oh my god, let
Yeah.
me help, right? But
Yeah, it's like if that happened now, if somebody would just be like, You're fired. I'll have you fired. I'll put a Yelp review out that says that you make me clean my own soda." But I mean, it's Jeff's fault, so I don't know.
yeah, okay.
Maybe in a polite society that we had in the 50s, you just clean up after your own mess, or the soda jerk beats you to death. I don't know.
Probably
what
the latter.
happens. It's your dad comes and grabs you by the ear and then like hits you with a belt 50 times.
I don't know what. Yeah. You know, based on the garage, when he's back in the garage getting pissed about his car, I did start thinking about Biff. He's kind of having a Biff moment there in his car.
Yeah, that's one of the sort of the general inaccuracy of this. The big inaccuracy is that the narrator sort of implies that Jeff could be down the wrong path, like he's conditioning himself to be an angry person for life if he doesn't watch out how he handles this one day.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I think no, it's the brother that has the buzz cut, right?
Yeah,
Okay. I just
maybe he's Biff.
yeah, I was just saying, yeah, part of our shorthand is kids with buzz cuts are assholes. But you do
But yeah,
find
maybe. I
those
mean, he
are often
does.
the troublesome kids in classes.
I mean, he's the primary antagonist of the film.
Yeah. Well, he is the thief, right?
Yeah, he stole what isn't his. You know, he could cut his arm off if it was 1950s Saudi Arabia, I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
Excuse me. Oh, then he's got to deal with the garage. That should piss him off some more. He took the car to the mechanic, right? That's the start
That's
of where you get pissed off.
well, yeah. Taking your car to the mechanic usually is the start when you get pissed off.
Right, right. You know, he'll have some real things to rage about soon. Also, I was like, I guess you can't just drop a 9-year-old off at the movies anymore.
No.
Actually, back in Japan, you could. But
Well, I mean, in 1950 you could, but not. Yeah, I feel like you could do that up until like 1989, and then there was like a cutoff
why is 89 the cutoff?
because that was the time that kid got murdered at Lenox Mall near where I grew up, and they closed the arcade.
Oh, is that why the arcade closed? That was a cool arcade.
I don't know if it was a murder or if it was just shooting, but yeah. And
Okay.
you know what's funny is now Lenox has metal detectors because people keep getting shot there over like
Good
fancy
place.
watches and stuff.
Ah, okay. Buy a watch and get shot.
Well, now it's rich people shooting each other. So not
But
going to
that's
close
okay.
anything over that.
Eat the rich.
Shoot the rich.
Right.
But I mean, it's rich people shooting other rich people. So, there's a guy who shot somebody in Phipps Plaza because he was in his like assigned movie seat like a couple of weeks ago. I mean, the guy was in his seat. It's like it was the guy who got shot was in the wrong seat.
Oh,
So
okay. Well, you deserved it then.
in 1950, it would
In
be
1950.
totally cool. Yeah.
But
There's probably a film that's like, don't sit in someone else's movie theater seat.
they'll
As if,
bother you.
as if there was, yeah. Abraham Lincoln was actually supposed to be in 15B.
Hey, this blew my mind. Mid-Atlantic accent. Where is that located?
In the fictional world of Narnia, it's a made up accent.
Right, but really,
They made up accent.
what do they mean by Mid-Atlantic?
I think it's almost like they vaguely gestured in a direction and said a thing. Like
I
it's the
just
most made up thing. I love it. I love the mid-Atlantic accent. You know, have used it. I obviously just used it. But I mean,
that's why I'm bringing it up, because I always assumed Mid-Atlantic meant kind of like you're like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, but they actually mean in the middle of the Atlantic.
like in the ocean. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's halfway between the British and the American accent, which I never caught on to that.
That makes sense. Yeah, I also assumed that they were just I assumed that they meant somewhere along the American coast, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Because my grandmother had the Mid-Atlantic accent, right?
Huh.
So I just assumed we all did, but no, no.
I would if I met somebody with a mid-Atlantic accent, I would definitely be like if I met a woman with a mid-Atlantic accent, I would definitely be attracted to them, even though that would probably signify that they had some kind of thing going on mentally, but it'd be pretty cool. I mean, everybody's met someone who kind of we've all met someone who kind of made up how they talk, right? I mean, there's that I was really struck rewatching old X-Files episodes recently, how it kind of felt like everyone talked a little bit more like Elvis. Like,
I've always been talking this way.
There's a little more of a sort of a drawl, like everyone.
Is that the start of where everybody started whispering in TV and movies?
Maybe I think it came after that. It was like but even watching like old Conan O'Brien episodes, it's sort of like everyone's suits were like a little bigger, and they were like a little bit more of a draw.
Yeah, because what you were mentioning, new Star Trek Discovery in particular is kind of a whispery show. Everyone likes to whisper all the time.
Interesting.
Like talk or don't talk, people. Why are we whispering?
I don't hate it. Well, I have to watch it to figure out if I hate it. Some people hate it.
I like it fine. I'm just like, there's a lot of whispering.
We'll see. I mean, I'm maybe a little bit count me among the many people who are a little bit fatigued with the quippiness of a lot of modern stuff that was like the post Joss Whedon thing.
Yeah, I guess. Well, it's different. I guess it's like, like in the past it was be louder, so I guess now it's be quieter. Like if you want to be really, really intense, you gotta whisper it.
Yeah, I like the old kind of like David Lynch school of just kind of being like, ah, just being like really just acting
Loud
like you're losing your
noises.
mind. But like, yeah, having like an insane range of like Firewalk with Me, there's like just basically like insane screaming, but
Yeah,
also just
isn't
kind
that
of
all
like
David Bowie does in that movie? He just shows up and screams.
no, he's like, oh, he's I think he had a mid-Atlantic accent in that. He's sort of like, hello. He just shows up to be weird.
He was an actor.
Yeah.
Of course,
I
if you
mean,
want someone to show up to be weird, can you do better in getting Bowie?
yeah. I mean, his acting career started with him just playing like an alien.
Yeah. And then
He's
ended
like,
with Tesla, which could also be
yeah.
an alien.
Yeah. And especially in the context of that film where Tesla is implied to have actually invented teleportation.
Right.
Oh, spoiler. Sorry. If you haven't
Oops.
seen that movie, that I
Don't
won't
name
even name the
don't
movie.
name what it is. You know what it is or you don't know what it is.
Yeah. Well, you've had, America, world, you've had
No, don't tell
like
them how long it's been. That's a
18,
clue. That's a clue. Don't give them
you've
a
had
clue.
between 18 and 50 years to see that movie.
No, you already said 18. They got it.
I don't think that's actually right.
Maybe 16. Oh, crap. See, you tricked me. I'll kill you.
It's my plan. Hey, control your anger, man. Control your emotions.
Yeah. So,
But so it's kind of an interesting juxtaposition where I feel like now we don't even treat anger, or at least in America, we don't treat anger like it's even a problem anymore.
whatever, just get pissed.
Yeah, it's like you will constantly encounter people who act like they're smarter because they're angrier.
Whereas I live in a country where everyone like fastidiously avoids conflict.
That is true.
So
Well,
I don't.
Americans don't like conflict either. They just like to kind of hold it all in until they explode.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I got like pissed at something was I was trying to wipe an old phone and it kept like sending me through like that password circle. So I
Yeah.
was screaming at it, but I was kind of enjoying screaming at it. I knew I was going to fix it eventually, right? I was like,
I've
have
I've
fun.
definitely had to I've had to assert myself with people, unfortunately, especially in the past like year or so.
I haven't had to
Yeah.
assert myself with anyone recently at all, so that's cool. But
Yeah. See,
I,
that's
I just,
nice.
I just let it out on my old phone, right?
I mean, it's nice, but also in Japan, you are constantly having to live up to a series of expectations that are subtly placed upon you that are probably higher than what we have to. So it's
That is true, but yeah, because that phone also it did have a notable crack or three. When I got the
mm.
crack on the phone, I was like, "Oh, look what happened! My phone has a crack now." So that didn't piss me off. It just like when the phone was sending me through a password loop. Yeah, it's like, "What is your password? Don't remember." Okay, to get your password, tell me your password. I'm like, I don't know the password.
I hate to admit this, so I'm not going to.
Okay.
There is something that happened that was my fault that I got very angry about over the last few days.
Okay.
And I hope I just never listen to this episode. But I was making a huge push to get out of my storage space by the end of the month, and I was done on like the 31st. And then the guy was like, "You've already been billed for the next month. We don't do refunds." And I checked the paperwork, and it basically did say that, so he was right. So I basically just wasted a month of storage rent, which
You can just go in there and scream all month.
I was pretty, yeah, I guess I could. I don't know. I don't know if my code would still work, but
Your echo chamber. Of
I
course
mean,
it'll work. You're paying for it.
you know what I thought about doing.
Shitting in it, using it as
Yeah,
your
yeah,
toilet for a
yeah,
month.
of course. Of course. Of
That was
course
a
I thought
correct
about that.
guess. That was a correct guess.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
So what else would I be implying? Yeah, it was like, and I was not extremely unkind to the storage man as I would have when I was younger, but I was, speaking very loudly and and angrily to him. So uh you know, I just got mad at myself. So I was like, I'm just not gonna buy anything for a month or so.
Control
Not
your
that
emotions.
it's not that much money, but I'm mad at
Yeah.
myself.
um, Yep. So you had something to learn from this quaint film from 1950. I mean, this is, this is the dime a dozen sort of educational film, but it's fun to look at this sometimes.
Oh
So
yeah,
if you
absolutely. That was the whole fun is the perspective shift.
right, if
You
you want
know,
like standard 1950 educational film, this is a pretty good hit.
yeah, and it's fun that we just don't talk about sadness,
Right, right.
which it would be very easy for me to say, oh well, now we're just mired in sadness and surrounded by it constantly. But
What should be is sadness, fear, love, then, right? Because rage and fear is kind of the same thing anyway.
I mean, there's sadness, fear, love, jealousy.
But I'm saying people
Um,
rage out of fear usually, right? Fear
well,
would
yeah,
be the
I
base
mean,
emotion.
insecurity,
Yeah.
uh,
So melancholia.
inadequacy.
I just like saying
There's
melancholia.
Yeah, you could like dissect emotions for a decent. Even if you're just talking about anger, you could probably dissect it for a good like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, some righteous anger, some madness anger.
There's just the feeling of inadequacy because you're constantly surrounded by people smarter than you, so you have to try to intimidate them so they don't actually take what they easily could from you, which is
Your
everything.
soul.
They don't overtake you. You have to go to work and constantly like try and assert domination over people who are like smarter and more capable than you are.
Right. Yeah, that so okay. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah. There's just projection of just like I think a lot of what is even misinterpreted as anger is just projection of will. It's like you're just trying to assert your will on people.
That's what I'm saying. It's connected to fear, right? Because that comes from a state of fear. You
Like
could just
for a contemporary example, like Tiger King, there's like that one guy who was the weird like guy who had kind of a harem, and the interviewer started asking him questions he didn't like, and he just sort of like his eyes got really big and just started yelling more.
I've still maintained my ability to claim I've never seen a reality show.
Well, that one is worth watching.
Okay.
I mostly don't watch reality shows. That one is worth watching. I
the
mean,
clo-
you look at it like a documentary
yeah,
series,
the closest I
which it
got was
is.
Orangutan Island, which I guess could also be a
Yeah.
bit of
Yeah.
a documentary series. So,
Tiger King is not a reality show, because a reality show would be like we're going to put you in this place and see what you do. What Tiger King is like a dissemination of like circumstances and sort of
deep
going through what
insanity.
deep insanity. I don't even want to tell you what happens, but
Yeah.
there's
Okay.
stuff that happens that you will not expect to happen.
Okay. What happens around February 19th, which is I think when the show's airing?
Well, if you're in Atlanta, you can catch the Buried Alive Film Festival from March 31st through April 2nd. Hopefully, wait,
April
2nd,
April 2nd.
March 31st through April
April.
2nd.
That sounds reasonable.
3rd. Well, anyway, it starts March 31st unless it got rescheduled again, in which case, look at the website, Google it. I'm sorry in advance if something else happens involving hospitals being full of idiots. I mean, I'm sorry. They're not all idiots, just some of them. The unvaccinated ones.
This
The
is
ones who
or
chose to be unvaccinated.
this one is Aural Hygiene. It is Aural Hygiene Pod on Twitter. It's on Facebook. It's under the podcasting umbrella of Podcastius on Patreon. Did I say that twice? Where we also
Podcastio. You said umbrella. You didn't say Patreon. You
Patreon
said
umbrella.
the Patreon podcasting umbrella of Podcastius.
Okay, cool. Anyway, we do Matt and Luke Sci-Fi Sanctuary there. We do Time Enough podcast about the Twilight Zone. There's Luke Loves Pokemon for the Pokemon and Monster Mash for the Monster Hunters out there. Did you start a Monster Hunter?
Oh, not yet. I got sucked into Halo Infinite, so I don't know when I'm going to be done completely binging that.
I understand. Well, you've joined me for my Halo phases, so
Yeah, we dragged each other along like like Pluto and its moon, which I can't remember the name of.
not even
for a while.
online. We would just sit in a room like murdering each other for hours with not online.
Oh yeah, well, this is the thing is that I set up I set up split screen
Hmm.
on a computer, which is actually really hard to do. And I'm just like trying to lure people in my house, like just come shoot me. Let's come shoot each other.
Yeah, if people want to do it online, I've never been into the online gaming. I like screaming at a person in the room if possible. So
Well, the big benefit of the online thing is just that you can play with like 24 people at once.
yeah, no, I did a few rounds of like I think the original Call of Duty back in the day, but it was
Huh.
mildly entertaining. But yeah, um, I don't know. Control those emotions. Stop screaming at me.
Yeah,
Why are you screaming so loud?
go and hit that Master Chief in the back of the head to control his emotions.